So that's in the church. So people outside of the church, even worse. Um, so that's what that is, and that is the I would say beginning of explanation of what generational curses are. It speaks of generations, but it doesn't specifically say generational curses. So some people may have missed over that, and so that's why I'm explaining it to you. He said, "Yet does not leave the guilty unpunished. He punishes the children and their children for the sin of the parents to the third and fourth generation," which is pretty merciful. Because in another passage, he says, He loves those who love Him, generations that love Him, their children will be loved for thousands of generations. For the wicked, it's only for the third and fourth generation, so forth, and that's if he finds some cooperation within these generations, or it could continue for hundreds of years, hundreds of generations. He insists on loving those who love them, generations that love him, and therefore, and pressed upon the generations coming after them to love God. That's a habit through generation and generation that'll cause God to show you an abundance of mercy, forgiveness, grace, all the good things about God for thousands of generations, even with mistakes, iniquity, non-believers within the generations. If the generation itself can be attributed to like the nation of Israel, his first chosen, then they can be given mercy, grace, forgiveness for thousands of generations. For wickedness, he'll want to stop at about 3 or 4 generations just to make his point. If there's if there's continued in the generational wealth part, amen, Saint Osterbury. And if it continues, it may continue further, but that would be the fault of the people who are not willing to acknowledge God and walk in the way of righteousness. So that is the beginning of the explanation of generational curses. I think I've said enough. We'll move on. And now we're going to go to Romans, and we may read several. Thank you, Greg. We may read several passages in Romans, because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. I don't usually read everything that I wrote down. I read